Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Giuliano, and in this video I'll be showing you how you can protect your financial data or sensitive data across your organization. Speaking about Microsoft 365 DLP policy, I'll show you how you can avoid that people share sensitive data across Teams, SharePoint, and Outlook. So let's dive in. Let's go. Here I am on my PC. What I have here is a sentence. In this sentence, you can see some sensitive data like credit card information, and I have even the name of the card and the number. So I will reuse this sentence, and I'm going to show you what happens if I share this text in Teams, in a Teams chat, or in a channel, or in Outlook or SharePoint. I have also a file here dropped, here my credit card. Let me open this Word document, and again what I have here is sensitive data. So clearly this is a credit card number with the owner, the expiration date, the secure code. So this is clearly something that should be not shared. Alright, let me use immediately this text. So in this case we can see in action the policy that I created. So let me go in a chat that I have here with Adele Events. And what I will do is just pasting what I copied before. All here is the credit card number information. So let me send this and let's see if the policy immediately trigger. That's the case. So the policy immediately triggered this message. This message was blocked. So it means that Adele Events cannot read this message. And this message will be not sent, of course, to the recipient because contains sensitive data. Here I am logged as Adele Events now in Microsoft Teams, and this is the chat with me, with Giuliano. So the message that I sent just some seconds ago, it's not available here. This message was blocked due to organization policy. Just above here, we can see that I shared the credit card number with other information, and this is before I enabled this policy. After this time, then I implemented this new DLP policy, which prevent sharing sensitive data, like in this case, a credit card number. So let's now show you another use case that I have here. Let me go in a simple channel that I have open, post this one, resources, and let's go by adding the text. Let me type in the subject credit card, and here again I'm going to paste this text. Let me hit the button post, and now what we should see again is the M365 DLP policy in action, which will block and has blocked this message. So nobody which is member of this team is able to read this post that I just made. This is pretty cool, and it's speaking about DLP policy applied to Teams. But of course, you have the same thing in Outlook, for example. Let me open here Outlook and let me create a new email. So let me see this in a separated window. I'm going to target as a recipient Adele Events. Here again, I'm going to type credit card, and in the body, again, I'm going to send this as email this time. So let's see how this will be. In the meantime, what I get here is an email coming from the Compliance Center of Microsoft 365, which states that this user is violating the policy called Teams Chat and Message Credit Card. So in this way, your compliance group or team is able to monitor what is happening. Here now, again, what I got is another message which states that the email has been blocked because has break the rule in the DLP policy. It means that this content cannot be shared or sent through Outlook. So now let me switch on a daily events perspective. Let me open the email, and the email, as you can see here, is not really landed. So going in the inbox, there's no trace of the email that I just sent as Giuliano. So this is how DLP policy works applied to Teams and Outlook, and how they are able to prevent this kind of scenario. Now let me just show you another use case. Let me pop out this email. I'm going again to target Adele events, and this time what I would like to do is attach a file that I have on my computer, which is clearly called here my credit card. So let me open this, and now this is attached. It is uploaded in my OneDrive automatically. Here I can type again credit card. And let me send this without adding anybody. But as you can see, send blocked. This message includes one or more recipients who aren't authorized to receive sensitive information. Please remove those recipients and try to send message again. This because in this Word document, what we see are sensitive information. Here my credit card with the number, the expiration, the card holder. All this information should not be shared. So what I've done is also in configuring this kind of policy is targeting the internal users, but also the external. So the entire organization with no exclusion. But of course you can customize this. I'll show you in a bit. But before to do it, let me show you other use cases that I would like to share with you, which are in this case SharePoint. So let me go on a SharePoint site that I have already open here, which is called Global HR. So let me go now in the classic documents that I don't see here in the menu, but no problem. Going on site contents, I'm able to show and click on documents. So what I'm going to do now is opening my file that I have on my desktop. I'm going to drag and drop this in SharePoint. So now this one is uploaded. It is the same that I uploaded also in OneDrive, but we have the exact behavior in this case. So I uploaded this a few seconds ago. In the meantime, I got another email, but before to jump in, let me refresh this page. And now what we have here is a very strange icon. And if I go over with my mouse, contains sensitive information, some comments aren't available. Let me show you another things. In terms of sharing capability, going on another file, I can share, even if this is labeled as highly confidential, I can share this document. So I can copy, or I can go on settings, I can change the sharing option here by targeting people you choose or in the organization, whatever. When I go over here, the sharing capabilities are very, very limited because the DLP policy has been triggered and it has blocked this file. So I can just copy this link. Even if I share this link, it doesn't mean that this file will be visible for the recipient or for the user, which is the target of my link. All right, so we have seen SharePoint in action. Let me show you also OneDrive. So I have a very special folder called demo, and I uploaded again here this file 3 days ago during my test. And here I have the same behavior that we have seen before in SharePoint, contains sensitive information. So the sharing options are here again, pretty limited. And this is how you can control sensitive data in Outlook, SharePoint, and OneDrive and Teams. So it's very, very cool. So now let me show you how you can create such policies. Here I am in the Purview portal, purview.microsoft.com. This is the place where you can deal with DLP policies and you can manage sensitive data. In my case, to create new policies, I'm going to click on this icon, Data Loss Prevention Policy. So before going through policies, I want to highlight here alerts. So this is the place where you can monitor where your compliance team or the admin of the data loss prevention or the compliance center is able to monitor what is happening with the DLP policies. So as you can see here, there is a match for a document with security level low. Here we have high. This also depends how you define the severity of your policy. But this is the place where you can monitor what is happening with your policies. Now let me show you what I have done here. So I created 3 policies. So, I was born in Rome. Dividi et impera is my motto. So if you divide things in little pieces, it's more easy to manage the full package. So I divided these 3 policies, one for Teams, Exchange, and SharePoint and OneDrive. This because theoretically, if I want, I can apply different and custom policies for every service. For example, for Teams, I want to have a specific behavior. For Exchange, another one. For SharePoint and OneDrive, a different one. So this is why I splitted these 3 policies. Now let me open just one and let me click on Edit so we can see better how I defined here these 3 policies. Instead of recreating, we can do also manually, but I prefer to show you what I've done previously with this policy. So let's start with the first 2 fields, are name and description, easy peasy. So you have to define here. It's good if you can provide a name which is easy to understand in the team or from other users. In this case, Teams, chat and message, credit cards. It's pretty easy to understand. So let's go now on next. Now what we have here is admin units. With admin units, if you use this, you are able to assign a specific team or another user, which could be another department, which will take over this policy in terms of manageability and responsibility. So it means that I can say this user X or this team or this department will be responsible for this policy. And this is included in the E5 license. Now let me go on next. I don't want to have admin units for this policy. So when you land on this page, of course, here you have to target the service. In this case, I selected Teams chat and channel messages. You have also instances, devices, and other services like OneDrive and Exchange. So let's hit the button next. But let me go back in a moment. I'll show you the next page. But very important, when you select one, you have to target users and groups. In my case, I targeted the full organization. But you can edit this and you can create a policy for a department, a policy for a small group, or it's really up to you. In my case, this one is available in the entire organization. So let's move with the customized advanced DLP policy. When you create a new policy, you can reuse an existing template or which provides also credit cards, or you can create your custom policy. And this is exactly what I have done. So I created a custom policy, I defined the name for this rule, and under conditions, I have a group name, which is default, and what I added here is sensitive info types. I selected this, and then I searched for credit card number. Then I selected this and I added this. Here you can define the confidence. This is also very important. Going here, let's learn more about this. So this is how the confidence of this policy is used. So there is a number, a percentage, which the policy reach when is working. So you can read more about all this information. You can even search in the Microsoft documentation this kind of function, and this will provide more description about that. But with high confidence and medium confidence, which are recommended, you are very good to go. You can also use low confidence, but in this case, this policy will use just this function credit card. In the other two cases, other rules will be applied. So in this case, minimum one match should be found. So we have three matches here. Function expiration date, we have the name, we have the verification number. So you have more rules applied. So it means that in this case, high confidence, the policy, let's call it policy, it's really sure that the content is sensitive. Okay, let's scroll a bit down, and what we have here, actions. This is also very important. When you create a new action, you have the ability to restrict actions or encrypt the content in Microsoft 365 locations. And what you have to do next is target everyone in the organization, internal or external users, or you can block only people outside your organization. So let's say that you want to create a sharing barrier in your organization with external users. Then you can select this one. Considering that credit cards, it's a very sensitive data, financial data, it should be not shared even internally, for my opinion. Now let's scroll a bit down, and here is where you can set up the notification, user notification. I turned this on and I wanted to notify users in Office 365 with policy tip or email notification. So you can also provide your text, and here you can write whatever you want for your users. For example, this policy prevent that you share this kind of information. Please be careful with that, and please take this training about compliance or sharing whatever. So you can write things like that as a tip for your policy. Let's scroll down and let me focus on these incident reports. So you can create incident reports, and then you can also send alerts to the admins. In this way, the admins are always on top of what is happening. You can send an email of the incident when the policy match occurs. Then you can define here the single user or a group, for example, of users. And more, you have even more option here. All incident reports include information about the item that was matched, and here you can share the name of the person who last modified the content, the types of sensitive content. So the admin can be really stay on top and updated on all this information about who shared the content, the sensitive data, about because why the rule is matched, and the severity level, all this kind of thing. Moreover, you have also the ability to set additional options like evaluate rule per component. Email body and each individual attachment will be considered an individual entity for rule evaluation. So you can even be more granular with any kind of component in Outlook, for example. Okay, and this is what I have done for Teams. So I will not open the other because more or less it's the same. I applied the same policy. But what I would like to show you now is another thing. So you can, during the creation of a new policy, here you have two possibilities. You can target data stored in Microsoft 365 or data in browser and network activity. So I will go with the first one. Here again we have admin units. But before to jump in, you have to select the template or custom policy. As I said, you can reuse many templates that are already available. Enhanced, for example, medical and health, Canada health information, privacy. There is Canada, Germany, Japan, Saudi Arabia, UK, you have all this kind of information. But speaking about financial data, you have also Germany financial data, for example, and here you have credit card number and EU debit card number. So targeting Germany. But you have other countries as well, because you can target a specific country with a policy if you want. But in my case, I selected custom policy because I wanted to have a global policy related to credit cards. It doesn't matter which countries, but this should be applied worldwide and everywhere. So hitting the button next, then you can define a name. This probably will fail because I already have something called custom policy. There you go. Let me add just some more text. Again, admin units. Here you have the ability to select other services. You can even target Copilot. Let me go with Teams and Chats in this case. DLP policy, and here you can create your conditions, actions, user notification, incident reports, and all these things that we have seen before. So this is how it works. Now let's speak about this column, policy sync status. When you create a new policy, a new DLP policy, you have the ability to create this off by default, on, or in simulation mode. Simulation mode is useful if you want to test the policy before rolling this out. There is also another approach, so you can target just a group of people, and then you can test the policy with these people, which could be a very small group, so you can test very well the policy if it's working as expected. And then you can eventually roll out this one. In this column, what you see here is sync completed. When you create a new policy, this status, it will not look like this one, but it's in progress, sync in progress. As long as you see sync in progress, the policy is not yet rolled out and published for you in your organization. When you see sync completed, it means that then you can really test the policy because this is live. Let me know if you want to see more video like this one in the comment, and let me know if you are already working with DLP policies in Microsoft 365. I hope you enjoyed. If yes, please consider to subscribe and like. I hope to see you next time. Bye.